Initiate confessional sequence.
Forgive me, Father. I had the dream again. About the war. I have questions, doubts.
The devil comes in many shapes, many shapes, many shapes.
The world has been plagued by generations of war between vampires and humans. The church has had to take the lead in the battle and commissioned a group of warrior priests to defend humanity. Once a truce between the vampire and the church has been arranged, there is no longer a need for the priests.
The citizens have complete faith in the church's ability to keep them safe.
The priests are kept apart because they're so dangerous. And if they were to get together, I think the Monsignors fear that they might overthrow them. And they probably could.
Get her down below! Whenever you hear, don't scream.
A girl called Lucy is abducted by a band of vampires. Her sheriff boyfriend comes to solicit my particular skill set.
Who are you? Name's Hicks. There was a vamp attack. They took Lucy.
He knows that Lucy, who is kidnapped, is a family member of Priest. And priests are invincible. You know, in Hicks's eyes, invincible to vampires. And he knows he can't do it on his own. And so why not find the one person who will help him be successful? And that would be Priest.
I come before you because I need my authority reinstated. This was a vampire attack.
We've had no reports of any escapes from the reservations. There is no vampire menace.
He has to do what is right and what is in his heart.
If you take any action to leave the cities, you will be stripped from the order.
I have no choice.
A priest in this world is, to me, is like essentially what a Green Beret or a Navy SEAL would be, or a Black Ops operative in sort of our world today. Someone who's a complete badass.
They're like Jedi Knights. They're the soldiers for the church.
Save your bullets.
And they have special abilities. And they're not like priests are in our world. Priests are acrobatic enough that they're able to leap through the air and move so quickly that they kind of slow time down.
It's sort of through prayer of slowing our surroundings down whilst moving at the same speed, so it's actually happening incredibly quickly.
Fine, Lucy. Bring her home, and you promise me something, brother. Kill them all. Saw a mirror.
But I thought all the hives were liquidated after the war.
They were. What are you doing here?
They're old colleagues. I mean, they fought a war together, and you know, people who have spent an intense amount of time together and done things that other people just don't do. There is a bond that is sort of never unbroken.
Who just sent me? Ordered me to bring you back. I came here to warn you.
My God.
They bred a new army.
Where did they all go?
Where's this rail line go?
Jericho's the last stop before it reaches
Cities. Without us, they're defenseless.
The cities are the perfect place to feed, right? It's always night there. So I can march my train full of vampires into the city and they will be defenseless because there are no priests left.
It's going to be a massacre.
It's gonna be a war.
I was tired of seeing the same old Eurotrash vampire over and over again. Very sexy, very cool, but not very scary. I want to get back something more like Nosferatu, something more like a creature.
Vampires are definitely more monster-esque, you know, like a beast that happens to be in our world.
They're a different species. They are much less human than us. They are more like aliens.
They've evolved without eyes. They have extraordinary sense of hearing and smell, and they're quite dexterous. They move in really unpredictable ways and really, really, really fast.
They're sort of based on a kind of bee colony, as it were. There are worker drone vampires, and there are guardians, who's a kind of super vampire. But there's a sense of a civilization there as well.
I love that about this film. I love that we were creating a whole new breed of something to be afraid of.
What our vampires are like are scary, and they're creepy, and they're not something that anyone in their right mind would ever want to kiss.
People have to use deep imaginations. I mean, luckily all our actors are great at doing this, but it's always challenging when you're kind of like acting opposite nothing.
You're kind of maybe off a little bit, and then director or somebody says, well, you know, he's right here, and you're like, oh, right, of course.
A lot of times when you get into visual effects, as creative a job as it sounds like, it can be not really that creative in the sense that everything has already been designed and already shot, and you're just expanding on that. But when you get in these films that have all these cool ideas and concepts and really need to be expanded upon, it's a great opportunity for us, and we really like to dig in and do something incredible.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how the train comes out, because we only built a tiny part of it. I was really looking forward to building an enormous locomotive that was going to be 120 feet long and it was going to be 22 feet high, which we simply couldn't afford. So what we actually ended up building was 3 carriages that were pulled by a truck.
We can actually have shots of motorcycles pulling up the train and people jumping on the train and seeing people on top of the train while it's actually moving. And then we do what my favorite things is a mix of practical, live action, and CG, where we see real train, but we're just extending it with a CG train.
It was extraordinary fun. I mean, sometimes the train is moving and it was being pulled by a big truck, and I was on a motorbike alongside it, and climbing up onto this motorbike and jumping onto the train. I guess we were doing like 40 miles an hour or something. It felt really fast, and you're grabbing hold of the side, and you're on a wire and everything. And I did think, what on earth am I doing?
Okay, camera rolling. Good.
There's a lot of wire work on this film. Honestly, I'm doing action and stunts on this that I've never done in any other film.
It's lovely to do that sort of stuff, and you've got a bunch of mates that can make it look like you can flip and twist and almost fly through the air. And there's other reasons I became an actor, but I would be lying if I said that that wasn't one that needed to be fulfilled.
And action! Lucy!
I've got some knife fights, some flying off trains, setting fires, flying through the air, explosions. The more breeze you get, the more authentic.
Biggest goal is always to be the unseen visual effects or the unknown visual effects, and we do our best job when nobody has any idea that we actually did something there. So for us, the goal is when we do put the environment back there from the desert, that it all comes together seamlessly and it looks like we did these crazy stunts on a moving train in the middle of the desert.
We were trying to like come up with an idea for the priest cycles that wasn't something you'd seen before, that looked beaten up, so we went for something powerful and sleek like the priests themselves, but looks like they hadn't been used in 30 or 40 years.
So we talked a lot about the motorcycles and what would they look like, and came up with a term called brutal functionalism. That was really what it was kind of about, was trying to find something that just felt unbelievably powerful, that eschewed style in any kind of obvious way, and was just about an expression of speed.
They're ginormous. I mean, they're the size of an airplane. It's kind of funny, you see me on it, you know, once I straddle it, I mean, I disappear. It's that big. and kind of really difficult to ride, but very cool looking.
We're making a film that exists in a world that does not exist, so all the props for the film had to be built. There's nothing that we would call over the counter that we could go to a prop house or a vendor and just buy. Everything that you see here is built. This is a really beautiful piece. It's all the inlay is silver on it. As you can see, the workmanship on it, it's all had to be hand sculpted before it was actually made. So the man hours and time that's in this knife is incredible.
You know, he has this trusty handgun that's like 10 pounds, the real one. And we've had scenes where I have to hold it up for the entire scene, and you can just see, like, towards the end, it's slowly dropping.
It's a double-barrel semi-automatic revolver. You know, it has a magazine at the same time as it's got a revolver barrel. So in terms of gun physics, that doesn't make a load of sense, but it was just so freaking cool that we couldn't not do it.
Are you teaching me to shoot?
I'm teaching you how to kill vampires. This is his shotgun. It actually fires blanks. It's very, very loud and very, very impressive when it goes off. Although the design of the weapon is based on an old weapon, we've added a lot of modern elements to it to fit into our world.
I have a really special weapon in this that you haven't really seen a woman work with before on film, which is cool. It's called a rope dart, and it's originally a wushu weapon. I don't know originally what is on the end of it when they use it in wushu. The one I was training with had a tennis ball on the end of it, so I wouldn't stab myself in the face.
All the weapons convert. They start as one thing, it can become another thing. So Priestess has a rosary that becomes the throwing, stabbing, pulling weapon.
She sort of wields that and is able to, you know, take guys off their motorcycle and stuff. So it's really cool.
Another weapon that Priest has is his Bible. And in his Bible, when we open it up, we have throwing stars. They start out in a cross position and will change into these.
I just want to see it all. I mean, I think that it's going to leap off the screen, and I can't wait to see it.
People that like post-apocalyptic sci-fi, like Road Warrior or Terminator, you know, won't be disappointed. But people that like the vampire mythology, I think will come expecting the traditional vampire, and we'll blow them away with something really, really original.
I adore horror films when they're well done. And this one had a particular style that I found different, and I loved it.
I'm more excited to see a movie that I'm completing than I have been in years. It's like since my first film. I really can't wait to see it.
It's not only what I imagined, I would say it's actually even better. The artistry and the just kick-ass coolness has just brought it up tenfold.
It just looks incredible.
You're too late, Priest. This is theirs now.
It is going to be a kick-ass post-apocalyptic action-adventure vampire film. So buckle up.